Today we're going to talk about in-text citations and works cited entries. We've already talked about MLA documentation and why it's important. Today we're going to distinguish between an in-text citation and a works cited entry. So an in-text citation is in the text. It's in your essay. It is as you are writing your essay and you want to reference someone else's ideas or words, you're going to use an in-text citation. We also call these parenthetical citations because they are often in parentheses at the end of the sentence, and it typically includes the author's last name and a page number if you're using a print resource. The in-text or parenthetical citation is a direct link to a complete works cited entry. The works cited entries all appear on a separate page of your essay, and they contain all the information that your reader would need to track down the original source. So you can think about the in-text or parenthetical citation as a shortcut or an abbreviated version of the works cited entry, or even a hyperlink that as your reader is going through your essay, if he or she wants more information on your quote or paraphrase or summary, they can go to the works cited entry and retrieve all of that. We use in-text citations anytime, of course, that the words, ideas, and information are not our own. So like I said, direct quotes, paraphrases, summaries for any information, facts, data, or quotes. There's some things that you can do to make this easier for yourself, because sometimes it can get a little confusing. What do I use as the in-text citation? And so I'm going to walk you through Kathy's steps for success. So the first thing to do is to figure out, what do you have? Do you have a chapter in a book? Do you have an article on an online publication? Do you have a TED Talk? Once you've figured out what you have, create an accurate works cited entry for whatever you have. And then step number 3 is to use the first part of that works cited entry as your in-text citation in your essay. Step number 4 is making quote sandwiches, and we'll talk about those in another video. So let's say that I've been reading this article in the New York Times. It's an online version of the New York Times newspaper. The article is called Stop Googling, Let's Talk. It was written by Sherry Turkle back in 2015. So what I know about this is that it is an article or an opinion piece published in an online newspaper. So my next step, if I am following the steps to success, is to figure out what I have, which I did. It is an online article. The next step is to create a works cited entry for that. So what I typically do is Google. Right? I go to Google and I put in MLA works cited entry for an article online. 9 times out of 10 that takes you to our friends at Purdue University and their online writing lab, the OWL Purdue. I scroll down to the right part, which is right here, page on a website. I look at the examples and models, and then in my own essay, I create a works cited entry. This is what it looks like for an article online with an author. So once I've created an accurate works cited entry for the particular thing that I have, right? So figure out what you have, create a works cited entry for it, and it will look differently depending on what kind of source you have. You use whatever is right here in this lead position as your in-text citation. So in this case, it's the author's last name, Turkle. That is what I include in my essay. So in this last sentence here, I am quoting some of Sherry Turkle's words. At the end of that quote, in parentheses, I include her name because that is what leads the works cited entry. So it's a direct match. My reader sees Turkle here, finds Turkle in the works cited entry. These would be listed alphabetically here, and then can actually retrieve the article by using all of this additional information. If this had been a print resource, I would put in the page number where this particular quote occurred. Since it's a web resource, there's no page number. If the works cited entry did not start with the author's name for some reason, let's say it starts with the title of the article because there is no author, this is still what is in the lead position of the works cited entry, and therefore becomes what we use in the parenthetical or in-text citation in our essay. So that walks you through your steps for success. Figure out what you have and make sure you're accurate in step number 1, so that in step number 2 you can create an appropriate works cited entry. and then use the first part of the works cited entry, and again, most of the time it's the author's last name, and a page number, if your source has page numbers, as your in-text citation. Next time we'll be talking about how to make these quote sandwiches.